They told me I had it, the look, the voice, the malleability. I was scouted at a mall halfway through a hot dog. One minute I'm a normal teenager, the next I'm being promised the world. All I had to do was sign on the dotted line. And so, my life as a K-pop marionette began. The training was intense. Imagine a boot camp run by a drill sergeant with a penchant for glitter and synchronized dance moves. We'd practice until our feet bled, then practice some more. Sleep was a luxury, and food was a carefully calculated equation of nutrients and, well, not much else. My bandmates were a carefully curated collection of personalities. There was the bad boy, the cute one, the mysterious one, and me, the one who's just happy to be here. We were strangers forced into a brotherhood, our every interaction scripted for the cameras. Our debut song was a masterpiece of manufactured pop. The lyrics were about a love so pure it could probably power a small city. The music video was a fever dream of pastel colors, questionable fashion choices, and more synchronized dancing than a flock of flamingos on parade. And then, we were famous. Suddenly, my face was on everything from coffee mugs to life-sized cardboard cutouts. I couldn't go anywhere without being mobbed by screaming fans. It was everything I had ever dreamed of, and it was absolutely terrifying. The fan signs were the weirdest part. People would confess their undying love, give me bizarre gifts, and ask me to marry them. I'd just smile, sign their albums, and try not to make eye contact for too long. It was like being a therapist, priest, and a boy band member all at once. We were constantly on a diet. Our meals were meticulously planned and consisted mostly of chicken breast, sweet potatoes, and sadness. I dreamed of cheeseburgers and pizza, but my reality was a never-ending cycle of salads and protein shakes. Dating was strictly forbidden. Our contracts had a no scandal clause that was longer than the Magna Carta. We were supposed to be pure, unattainable idols, forever single and devoted to our fans. My love life was as fictional as the lyrics to our songs. The music shows were a blur of flashing lights, loud music, and perfectly executed dance moves. We'd perform the same song over and over again with the same smiles plastered on our faces. It was like being a cog in a giant glittery machine. We had to be perfect all the time. One wrong step, one off-key note, one misplaced smile, and the internet would have a field day. The pressure was immense, and the fear of failure was our constant companion. The sasaengs were the scariest part. They were the obsessive fans who would do anything to get close to us. They'd follow us, hack our phones, and even break into our dorms. It was like living in a horror movie, but with more fan mail. We were constantly being pitted against each other. The media loved to create rivalries between bands, and our fans would get into vicious online wars. It was all just a game to them, but to us, it was our lives. The money was good, but we never saw most of it. Our agency took a huge cut, and we had to pay for our own expenses. We were living like kings, but we were broke. We were always tired. We had a grueling schedule of practices, performances, and appearances. We were running on fumes, but we had to keep smiling for the cameras. The loneliness was the worst part. We were surrounded by people all the time, but we were completely alone. We couldn't trust anyone, and we couldn't be ourselves. We were just products, packaged and sold for public consumption. I started to lose myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. I was just a collection of carefully constructed images and sound bites. I was a ghost in my own life. I wanted to quit, but I couldn't. I was trapped in a contract that was more ironclad than a medieval chastity belt. I was a prisoner of my own dreams. So I started to rebel in small ways. I'd mess up the choreography on purpose, sing off-key during rehearsals, and make sarcastic comments in interviews. It was my own little way of fighting back. The fans loved it. They thought I was being real and relatable. My popularity soared, and my agency was forced to give me more freedom. It was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. I started to find my own voice. I started to write my own songs. Songs that were about my real life, not some fabricated fantasy. They were dark, and they were angry, but they were mine. The agency didn't like it, but they couldn't stop me. I was too popular to be controlled. I had become a monster of their own creation, and now I was turning on them. I released my own solo album, and it was a huge success. It was a raw, honest, and angry album, and it resonated with people. I had finally found my own voice, and it was a voice that people wanted to hear. I was still a K-pop idol, but I was a different kind of idol. I was an idol who was not afraid to be himself, an idol who was not afraid to speak his mind. I was an idol who was free. My story is a cautionary tale. It's a story about the dark side of the K-pop industry, a story about the price of fame, but it's also a story about hope. A story about the power of self-expression, a story about the importance of being true to yourself. So, If you're thinking about becoming a K-pop idol, just remember this. It's not all glitz and glamour. It's a tough, demanding, and often soul-crushing industry. But if you have a dream and you're willing to fight for it, then anything is possible, even for a K-pop marionette like me.